Online, there are certain topics that you really don't want to bring up unless you want an argument. Now, some of those topics I understand. If you're talking about politics or religion or something like that, where it's a nuanced conversation that no one can give a definitive answer to, then I understand debate. And I understand there's serious subjects that people can really take offense to. But the most interesting conversation to me that I see people ready to fight over and really get into heated debates about is stacking firewood, measuring firewood, and the terminology used to describe firewood that you're selling. And it's really not that complicated if you give it a little thought. So today, I'm going to try to end this debate, and it's not going to work. We'll see if arguments break out in the comments or not. About the only statement you can make that won't get any pushback is that a cord of firewood is a defined measurable amount, which is 128 cubic feet. Now, that's as far as you can go without argument, because the next thing is, does it matter how that's stacked? No, it doesn't. You can put it in a dome, you can stack it 100 feet long, 2 feet tall, whatever you want to do, 128 cubic feet. But the most common way that a cord is stacked for measuring purposes is 4 feet wide, 4 feet tall, 8 feet long. It's like the traditional way of stacking it and measuring it. But you can stack it any way you want. But having the traditional stack in mind helps us look at all the other quantities and terminologies. So, if everyone bought their firewood by the cord and everyone was capable of hauling one cord at a time, then that would be the only term we ever need. Everything is sold by a cord of firewood, no problems. But a lot of people don't want to buy a cord of firewood. A lot of people can't haul a cord of firewood. Maybe they do this a little bit on the side or even full time, but they just have a pickup truck that they haul it in. We need all kinds, right? Everybody's not the same. Every part of the country's not the same. Up north, you may burn 30 cords. I mean, who knows? But down here, most people are just buying a couple cords a year. So, and a lot of people are buying one rick at a time. Oh, I did it. I said a naughty word. Don't say rick. But we're getting ready to get into that. So, you've got the people who do not want to buy a full cord of firewood or can't haul it. So, what is the most typical thing that's done next? We do the most natural thing, which is to say, if I have a cord that's stacked and it is 4 foot by 4 foot by 8 foot, it's probably not pieces that are 4 foot long. Now, you can cut firewood 24 inches, 18 inches, 16 inches. All of those are okay, and all of them can come out to 128 cubic feet, and it's whatever you want to do. But the most common way to stack a cord is pieces 16 inches long, and 3 rows of 16 makes your 48 inches, makes a 4 foot wide stack. So most typically a cord of firewood is 3 stacks that are 16 inches wide, 4 foot tall, 8 feet long. Now, you've got these 3 separate stacks and someone doesn't want to buy a full cord. So what are we going to do? We're going to sell them one of the 3 stacks, and we need to call that something. Well, what do you call it? Well, one accepted terminology, none of them are accepted. One commonly used terminology is a face cord. You're taking a cord and slicing it into thirds, and you could say we cut the face off of this cord, and that is a third of a cord. Now, I don't think there might not be a definition in the dictionary for a third of a cord. So if you want to remove confusion, you don't say a face cord. You say, I have 1/3 of a cord for sale. That takes a lot of confusion out, right? Except that people in a lot of places didn't grow up thinking of a third of a cord No one where I live sells a cord of firewood. It's never listed as a cord of firewood. No one says a face cord. No one says a third of a cord. Here, everyone says a rick of firewood. If you Google rick, it means like an undisclosed pile. Same thing with a jag or a rank or anything else. And if you go into these discussions, what they say is a face cord, a rick, all the terms that you might want to use don't have a defined amount, so you shouldn't ever sell it in that amount. So we know what a cord is. We know what a third of a cord is. 1/3 of 128 cubic feet is 42 point something, 0.3 I think. And you can cut your lengths however you want. A face cord, a rick, all these other terminologies generally in most locations mean 1/3 of a cord. But if you want to know you're being exact and telling people what they're getting, tell them it's 1/3 of a cord, it's 42 cubic feet. But if no one wants to do math, you can just use the terminology in your area. If I have any advice, it is for you to completely understand the quantities in measurements that you plan to deliver in. So I use the IBC totes you can see right over here. I know that they hold 1/3 of a cord if they're stacked high. If someone wants a cord, I bring them 3 baskets. If someone says they want a rick, I know in this area that means 1/3 of a cord. I bring them 1 basket. I know that my dump trailer, loosely thrown, holds about 1.5 cords. So if someone says that they want as big a load as I can bring, or that they want 3 cords or 6 cords or something, tell them I can bring you 1.5 cords at a time and take my cord price times 1.5. And same thing with the pickup truck. It's good to know how much wood will fit in your truck bed. You can take measurements of your truck bed and figure that out if you're planning to stack it in. If you're going to loose throw it, then what you would need to do is take a measured amount of wood and see how much fits if you're going to regularly deliver wood. And then you know that my truck bed holds 2/3 of a cord, or 1.25 cords if I have a extra long bed, or whatever the case is. Know how much fits in there. And if someone says, you know, I need a truckload of wood, say, well, my truck holds a little less than 1 cord, so, or a little less than 1/3 of a cord, and you know, you can just price it that way. So as long as you know what you have and you know what you want to charge for the amount of wood you're selling, then do it as a percentage of a cord. 1/2 cord, 1/3 of a cord, 1.5 cords, whatever the case is. You can keep track of making sure that everyone's being charged whether they're picking it up, you're delivering in totes, you're delivering in a dump trailer, you're delivering in your truck. And delivering in trucks is one that really seems to get people excited about how do you price a truckload. And every truckload's a different size. And this is where I'm going to say you're trying too hard, guys. Because if I tell someone I have a truckload for $50 and they say okay, and they don't ask me how big the truck is, and it's 2 people who can make any kind of agreement they want. You can't have any kind of consistency between sellers, but if that guy wants to buy whatever happens to be in my truck for whatever I happen to charge, it's nobody's business but mine and his, right? But all the other terminologies basically mean the same thing. And at the end of the day, maybe we should just lighten up about it a little bit. Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.